Imagine waking up tomorrow morning and discovering that the company everyone thought had already won the AI race has just been overtaken. For almost 2 years, Nvidia has been the undisputed king of artificial intelligence. Its stock exploded. Its CEO, Jensen Huang, became one of the richest people alive. Its AI chips became more valuable than oil, more sought after than gold. Every major AI company, from OpenAI and Microsoft to Amazon, Google, and Meta, started buying Nvidia GPUs faster than Nvidia could manufacture them. But while the world was staring at Santa Clara, a quiet revolution was reaching its peak in Suwon, South Korea. A giant was waking up with a weapon that would redefine the trillion-dollar semiconductor industry. Here is the shocking twist that has sent ripples through the global economy. Samsung, yes, the same company you know for Galaxy smartphones and high-end TVs, has just reported the highest annual profit in the history of the technology industry, a record-shattering $58.6 billion. This isn't just a win, it's a statement. It surpasses Nvidia's reported annual operating profit and signals a fundamental shift in who controls the digital future. But wait, how did a company that many believed was falling behind suddenly leap so far ahead? Did Samsung secretly win the AI race? Is Nvidia losing? Or is something much bigger happening behind the scenes? The answer reveals how artificial intelligence is completely reshaping the entire world. To understand Samsung's record profits, we first have to understand the unprecedented AI gold rush. Every AI chatbot you interact with, every AI image you generate, and every AI search result you receive runs inside enormous, high-density data centers. These aren't just collections of ordinary computers. They are massive industrial facilities containing tens of thousands of AI processors working in perfect synchronization. Training a single modern AI model today doesn't just take talent, it takes hundreds of millions, even billions, of dollars in raw computing power. That demand has created one of the largest technology spending booms in human history. It is a modern-day fever for digital gold, where the pickaxes are made of silicon. In 2025 and 2026, the world's biggest companies announced AI infrastructure investments that would have been unthinkable a few years ago. Microsoft, Amazon, Google, Meta, Oracle, Tesla, OpenAI, xAI, everyone is in a desperate race to build larger, faster, and more efficient AI infrastructure. But here is what most people miss. An AI server needs far more than just a powerful GPU brain. It needs a massive amount of ultra-fast memory to feed that brain. Without it, the world's most powerful processor is just a brain without a heartbeat. And that, quite literally, is exactly where Samsung comes in. They are the providers of the fuel for the AI engine, and the price of that fuel is skyrocketing. So why did Nvidia become king in the first place? It wasn't just because their GPUs were expensive. It was because for several years, customers literally had no other choice. Nvidia spent decades building a software ecosystem called CUDA, which effectively locked in every AI developer on the planet. When the ChatGPT moment arrived, Nvidia was the only company ready with the hardware and the software to handle the load. Demand exceeded supply by such a massive margin that companies were waiting months just to get a single shipment. This allowed Nvidia to enjoy profit margins that were practically unheard of in corporate history. But as we've seen, Nvidia doesn't build every component inside those $100,000 AI servers. But even a king has dependencies. Nvidia depends on partners for the critical memory stacks that allow their processors to reach peak performance. Partners like Samsung. As AI models grew from billions to trillions of parameters, a new problem emerged: the memory bottleneck. You can have the fastest processor in the world, but if you can't feed it data fast enough, it sits idle. This is the critical piece of the puzzle that changed Samsung's fortunes forever. They realized that the AI revolution wouldn't be won by the processor alone, but by the memory architecture that supports it. They focused on HBM, high bandwidth memory, and it has become the most valuable commodity in tech. If the GPU is the brain, then HBM is the bloodstream. Traditional RAM, the kind you find in a laptop, sits relatively far away from the processor. But HBM is fundamentally different. It stacks multiple memory chips vertically, one on top of the other, using thousands of microscopic vertical connections called through-silicon vias, or TSVs. This stack is then placed directly next to the GPU, sometimes even on the same package. This shortens the distance data has to travel from centimeters to millimeters, allowing for far higher bandwidth and significantly better energy efficiency, both of which are absolute requirements for modern AI training. In the world of AI, speed and efficiency are the entire game. This vertical stacking isn't just a marginal improvement, it's a revolutionary way to package processing power. By moving the memory closer to the math, you eliminate the latency that used to hold back large language models. As we move into 2026, the technology is evolving at breakneck speed. we are now seeing the rise of HBM4 and HBM4E architecture. These 6th-generation chips feature extreme vertical stacking, up to 16 layers of high-density DRAM. By using next-generation hybrid copper bonding, Samsung has reduced heat resistance by over 20%. These chips now deliver data transfer speeds exceeding 4 terabytes per second. That is fast enough to transfer the entire contents of a standard hard drive in a fraction of a second. So, how did this turn into a $58 billion profit? This wasn't just luck. It was the perfect alignment of a market supercycle. For several years, the memory industry had suffered from oversupply and plummeting prices. Manufacturers like Samsung were forced to reduce production to stabilize the market. But then, AI changed everything. Suddenly, the entire world needed advanced memory all at once. Prices recovered sharply. Samsung's semiconductor division, which accounts for roughly 94% of their total profits, became a cash printing machine. They saw DRAM prices surge nearly 90% in a single quarter, driven by an insatiable hunger for AI server memory. It was the perfect storm. This profit surge represents a massive shift in corporate power. Samsung isn't just a phone maker anymore, it's the foundation of the AI era. But they aren't alone. They are fighting a secret war against their own rivals in the memory space. SK Hynix and Micron, HBM has become the fiercest battleground in tech. For a period, SK Hynix actually had an edge, being the primary supplier of HBM to Nvidia. This sparked an internal crisis at Samsung, leading to massive investments and a leadership shift to regain the throne. Now in 2026, Samsung is qualifying its latest HBM4 products for Nvidia's next-generation platform, a move that will likely cement their profitability for years to come. The stakes couldn't be higher. To understand the sheer scale of the operation that produced these results, you have to look at Samsung Digital City in Suwon. This isn't just an office campus. It is a sovereign tech municipality spanning 390 acres. It houses nearly 40,000 employees and functions like a self-contained city, with its own fire station, hospital, and even an Olympic-sized swimming pool. This is where the world's most advanced R&D happens, in secret chambers like the MIMO testing room for smartphone frequencies and anechoic chambers for audio perfection. This massive infrastructure is what allows Samsung to outmanufacture almost anyone on the planet. It is a fortress of innovation in the heart of South Korea. Inside this city, thousands of engineers work around the clock to refine the manufacturing processes that make HBM possible. It's a culture of extreme precision and long-term vision. Samsung didn't just build these chips overnight. They spent decades mastering the chemistry and physics of silicon. This integrated model, where they design and manufacture everything in-house, gives them a unique advantage over fabless companies like Nvidia. They control the supply chain from the raw silicon wafer to the final product. This vertical integration is the key to their record-breaking margins and their ability to scale production to meet the global AI demand. In Suwon, the future is being built one layer of DRAM at a time. Beyond the boardroom, these chips have become a matter of national security. Semiconductors are now geopolitical assets, just like oil was in the 20th century. Governments are investing hundreds of billions of dollars to secure their own supply chains. The US CHIPS Act, along with major incentives in Europe, Japan, and India, are all part of a race to ensure that no single country can be cut off from the silicon that powers the modern world. South Korea, as the home of Samsung and SK Hynix, sits at the very heart of this global struggle for technological leadership and economic security. The Silicon Shield is more than just a metaphor. It is the front line of global power. The race is no longer just about business. It's about who controls the intelligence of the future. The companies and nations that lead in semiconductor production will have a decisive advantage in everything from military technology to economic productivity. This is why Samsung's record profit is so significant. It's not just a financial victory, it's a strategic one. It proves that the physical layer of the AI stack is just as important as the software. As we look toward the end of the decade, the competition will only intensify. Every major nation is trying to build its own silicon sovereignty. But for now, the path to the AI future runs through the high-tech fabs of South Korea. As we look to the future, the partnership between Samsung and Nvidia is entering a new phase. Nvidia's upcoming Vera Rubin platform will push the limits of what's possible in AI computation, and it will require HBM4 on a scale we've never seen before. Samsung is already preparing its production lines for this next generation, investing tens of billions in advanced packaging and foundry services. But they aren't just a supplier anymore. Samsung is also building its own AI accelerators and software frameworks, aiming to eventually compete directly with Nvidia in certain segments of the market. The boundary between partner and competitor is blurring, creating a complex and high-stakes dance at the top of the tech world. What happens next will define the next decade of technology. Will Nvidia maintain its dominance with more powerful GPUs, or will the memory bottleneck eventually give the advantage to the manufacturers like Samsung? At the same time, companies like AMD, Intel, Google, Amazon, and Tesla are all trying to reduce their dependence on Nvidia by developing their own custom AI chips. This diversification of the market creates new opportunities for Samsung's foundry business, where they can manufacture chips for Nvidia's rivals. Samsung's goal is clear: to be the indispensable partner for every AI company on Earth, regardless of who designs the chip. Their record profit is just the beginning of this long-term strategy. The road to the future is paved with 2nm and GAA architecture. Samsung Foundry is currently in a fierce race with TSMC to master these advanced process technologies. Winning this race would allow Samsung to manufacture the most efficient and powerful processors in the world, not just for themselves, but for their global customers. This isn't just about making things smaller, it's about fundamentally changing how electricity flows through silicon. The innovations happening in the lab today will be the foundation of the AI systems of 2030. For Samsung, the $58 billion profit is just fuel for the next wave of massive investments in this invisible yet all-powerful technology. Ultimately, the AI revolution isn't powered by software alone. It's powered by silicon, by memory, and by the incredible engineering that happens inside the world's most advanced fabs. Whoever controls advanced semiconductor production controls a huge part of the future AI economy. Samsung's record profits are a reminder to the world that the AI race isn't only about who builds the smartest apps, it's also about who builds the physical foundation that makes them possible. The next decade will be defined by this semiconductor race, and as we've seen, the battle for the heart of artificial intelligence has only just begun. The invisible hardware behind our screens is the most powerful force on Earth. 10 years ago, most people had never heard of Nvidia. Today, it is one of the most influential companies on the planet. Now, Samsung has reminded the world that the AI revolution isn't just about GPUs. It's also about the memory that keeps them alive. Whether Samsung can sustain this momentum, whether Nvidia can maintain its dominance, and whether new competitors will reshape the market are the questions that will define the next decade of our digital lives. One thing is certain: the AI race has become a semiconductor race, and the companies building the invisible hardware behind artificial intelligence may end up shaping the future more than the AI apps we use every day. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of technology and global business, subscribe to TrendVault. We break down the biggest stories in AI, semiconductors, finance, and innovation, explaining not just what happened, but why it matters to you and the future of our world. Thanks for joining us on this journey through the Silicon Revolution, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, keep an eye on the invisible power that's reshaping our world. I'm TrendVault, signing off.